plan your weeks also. Right, so all of us have a calendar. I'm sure you had a calendar which was blocked today for this particular session, right? And since it was not blocked the previous time we wanted to do this, you had planned something else. So even if Radha or someone had called you and said, can you come for this session now? You would have said, no, it's not in my calendar. I can't come because something else took priority, which is already blocked in your calendar, correct? So the way you are blocking your calendar for all your official stuff, you got to pack in your calendar, whether it is your, Outlook of the office or whether it is Google. I live by the Google Calendar. You have to put everything that is there in the list of priorities into that calendar. So in my calendar, and of course today I'm a freelancer, so it really is a bit more, important for me because I have different clients who will come and call me. I do so much of volunteering. I have this book that I have to write, and then I have, my family to take care of. So even a small thing like my daughter's dentist appointment will go into the calendar. Okay, so that because I can get calls from anyone at any point in time. So it's not like and of course, many of us don't have a 9 to 6 or a 10 to 7 kind of a time frame these days, especially when you're working from home, it kind of stretches throughout. But as a freelancer, it's worse. You can get calls at 8 and 9 and 10 and Sunday, and you may do sessions even over the weekends. So I put every small thing into that one integrated calendar, and that's what I'm recommending for you all. Bring that one thing. It could be your office calendar itself, but put your me time, whatever that is. Put your coffee time, your lunch time, your time that you have to spend with your children, everything into that. Okay, so I really want to talk about what Pavitra Singh, the CHRO of PepsiCo India, has said. She's a mother to a 14-year-old daughter, and she says, don't view work and life as separate. View them both as priorities instead. And she says, I add appointments, both personal and professional, to my calendar. And based on the importance or urgency, I tend to each. And this is what she had said before the pandemic hit us. And this is what she's saying during the pandemic. She says, a full calendar challenges my other roles, right? So you can imagine, and each of us has been challenged during the pandemic, but especially the HR folks, because suddenly they have to look at process and policy in a different manner, and they have to look at engagement activities very differently. They had probably have so many calls that they were getting from the employees and all of that. So she says, I have tried to balance it by spending quality time with my 13-year-old daughter. So this is last year that she said. We have watched Netflix series together, cooked, and I have taught her how to bake. I've been practicing yoga in the morning, which I must say has helped me stay calm and collected. This situation, which is the COVID, has helped me unlock my potential to do so many things I wasn't even aware I could do. Right? And all of this is possible only when you plan your day and the week. And why am I saying the week? Because if you do not have a longer term, sometimes people may plan even for a month. Like for me, because I do these sessions, right? I plan out for the next 2 months because I have to give dates for the sessions, and then I have to, it's not only the session date, right? I have to put into my calendar smaller blocks preparing for the session, and I rehearse. I at least do 2 rehearsals before I go and deliver a session like this. So which means that if this is a 1-hour session where I'm going to speak for 45 minutes, I need 2 45-minute blocks before this session to practice, and I will do that. Even if it's a session which I've done 100 times, like, Radha said, networking is something that I keep doing, I will practice it. So if it's a 90-minute session, imagine 2 90-minute slots must be there. So I will block all of this prior. And this is a tip that I will give to all of you. I'm sure when you go into meetings, you will prepare and go, but put out a small slot in your calendar for preparation so that you don't walk in unprepared, so that you don't have to, then kind of stay overnight to do that preparation, whatever is required to go into the meeting. Because the meeting could be a very important one with whoever your stakeholders, could be a customer, could be your internal stakeholder, and you want to influence and convince that person about something, do that preparation and go. Because if you are, and especially as a woman, if you are invited into a meeting, you better have a voice. You must have something to say. Okay. Otherwise, they will say, okay, fine. She came, she sat, and she went away. And that's that. It's not the best use of your time and their time. So all of this needs to be there. That's why you have to prepare a plan for the week. Your calendar has to be set for the week, because today I have a session, but yesterday I would have put 45 minutes to prepare. Content I have to prepare, and hence that I will, do a few days ahead, before I actually go and deliver the session. Similarly, I'm sure you will have all of this. And how it also helps you is when you actually estimate to say, okay, these are all the things that I do on a daily basis, and I need to put time against, it will tell you of the number of hours I'm spending on doing WhatsApp forwards, or the number of hours I'm spending, looking at Instagram and Facebook and, stalking, people and just maybe, reading some Bollywood gossip or something like that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do, but if you are saying, I'm not getting time to do those important things which are in my list of priorities, then why don't I stop looking at Instagram for 15 minutes every day and pull in something else, maybe the healthy me aspect in that 15 minutes. So this is exactly how dietitians work, right? They will ask you to sit down and write down every small thing that goes into your body. And you wouldn't even have been aware that you're actually consuming 2 bananas every day and 10 biscuits every day and all of that. The minute you start writing every single thing, you realize, no wonder, I'm putting on weight, because look at the amount of calories that is going into me. Exactly like that. The minute you start writing every small thing, and I know it takes time, you're saying, okay, fine. Already I am busy. Already I don't have time. You're asking me to sit and prepare this, but it is important to get onto that. Today, I don't have to do any kind of, soul searching and, estimation, because by now I know exactly the minute I, sign up a session, I know amount of time approximately I'll need to research and develop the content. I will block a few days in my calendar. If it's a December session, I will block a few days, towards the end of November to do that content preparation, and a couple of days prior to that, in December to do the practice. It will immediately go into that. So it will become a way of your life over a period of time. Like Pavitra said, she even managed to, do all of this with her daughter, despite the pandemic and despite the kind of a role that she had. Only if you're able to plan a longer term plan, at least for a week. And it should have some buffers, because there will be exigencies that will come, personal, professional. Suddenly you're pulled into a meeting, suddenly you will have a deliverable that comes. And hence it's also important for you to ask that question when somebody is asking you at home to do something, or somebody is asking you at work to do something. Does that align with your priorities? And if it doesn't align with your priorities, you need to, either delegate or say a no to it. And in a nice way. And people should be made aware that, no, they may say, okay, why don't you come and, help out in this particular initiative that the company is driving? Good thing, you need to actually do more than what you're supposed to do at work. But if that was not your priority in terms of this year, you're not really looking to stretch yourselves, because personally at home you have that house project going on, or somebody not too well, and hence you have to spend time with them. You should decline to say, no, not this year, maybe next year I'll look at it. Or the vice versa. At home also, if somebody says, like for example, let me be very honest, right? I hate cooking. I don't know how many of you, like cooking. Some of them, of course, do. Whenever I run these sessions for a longer period of time, I actually ask people, if you were, allowed to throw away one thing from home, and throw away from the work that you do at home, and throw away one thing that from the work that you do at office, what would that be? And a lot of women say, the cooking. So I don't cook because I hate it. But with the pandemic, I had to, right? Because we stopped getting help at home. So when the cook used to come, we had, different things for breakfast. We had a different thing for lunch, and there would be something different for dinner. Very exotic, very, a lot of variety. And I would, ensure that it is very, very nutritious and stuff like that. The minute the pandemic happened and everything came on me, I made it very clear that, okay, fine, I will cook. But it'll be one meal that I make in the morning, and it will stay till night. So it is that sambar and sabji that I make in the morning, which will stay on till the night. And I made it very clear to people that for the next 6 months, till things are better, this is how it is. Okay, so you have to have those conversations, and hence the planning for your day as well for the week helps. Because suddenly if an exigency comes in today and you have to pull out something from your weeks, from your day's calendar, it shouldn't be your fitness routine. Either it goes into that buffer that you already had planned for, or you look at your list of priorities and say, okay, fine, I will push this to the next day. And because next day I have some buffer, and take on this because this is extremely important. The other thing that I want to tell you about your calendar is respect your own calendar. Okay. Nobody else is going to respect your calendar unless you respect it, which means that if in the evening you've decided you're going to spend half an hour, 1 hour with your kids or family or whoever, I'm just taking an example of the kids, which could be sitting down with them and looking at their homework, or spending the time with them in whichever way, you ensure that you are not taking calls that are coming to you at that point in time. So make it very, very clear to whoever, maybe in your family, maybe your mother calls every evening, or whatever it is, that between 6 and 7 or between 7 and 8 is the time when I'm spending with whoever your kids are. And hence, unless it's an emergency, and if it's an emergency, they can text you, or they can call somebody else in the family and let you know it's an emergency. Otherwise, you will not take that call, and you give them another time for the call. If you are going to take that call when it was supposed to be spending time with your kids, after 8, you may not get the time to spend with the kids, because you'll get busy in the kitchen and you'll get busy with some other work calls and things like that. And then you will keep saying, oh, work-life balance is impossible, work-life integration is impossible, because I don't get time to spend with my kids or whoever else. So respect your own calendar. Tell people, and it is perfectly fine, that 1 to 2 is my lunch and I don't take calls during that time, unless it is an emergency, and the emergencies have to be very, very limited. I say 80-20 rule, so it should be only 20% or less than that in your life. It can't be 80% you're saying, oh fine, I will take calls during lunch and I'll do all of that. When I was working at the job